Hey, welcome to the Stephanie Stevens Show, where I help you discover the power of communication and the keys that unlock the doors to freedom in every area of your life. Well, hi, friend. Ever set a goal or an intention? We're coming up to the time of year where this happens all the time. Ever set a goal or intention and you're super excited about it, and then as time goes on, it becomes less and less achievable, and you take it out of the goal and intention category and put it in your back pocket and feel really bad about yourself for not actually ever hitting it? Me too. So I want to talk to you about something that doesn't have anything to do with goals for the new year. It has to do with the little things in your life that you may be missing that are hugely important. And I'm going to tell you a little story about my journey with my son that I think might help. But today, I really want to talk about the milestones and how important it is to actually notice, mark, and honor little milestones along the course of time. Because the truth is, if you have got a goal or intention, you've got someplace you want to go in your head mentally, maybe it's with a job or a new business or a family or a relationship. We only really ever experience failure to the degree that we are here and that thing is way over here, and we feel the separation, we feel the distance between here and that thing, that situation we want to experience that would equal success. I'm success over here. Doesn't that fingernail look like success? Yeah, I painted that myself. I digress. This space here is what causes pain. It causes us that internal angst of not being where we feel like we want to be, and then we feel stuck. So, one of the things that I think is so valuable is to actually hit the milestones, like the first step from here to here. Notice that, celebrate it, honor that, and then jump to the next stepping stone from here. Don't start from here, point A, and skip to point Z and think nothing in between is valuable, because nothing could be further from the truth. Here's my own personal example. For many of you, you already know that I have a son with a diagnosis of autism, my earth angel. He's 27. I care for him. And if you want to learn more about autism and my journey, I have a lot of videos that help people with family members or loved ones with autism. That's on my YouTube channel, Full Spectrum Autism Assist for Families, with supporting those who have autism. And I also have a couple of podcasts, and one of them is called Full Spectrum. The other is the Stephanie Stevens Show. So in all of this, I have talked about my journey with my son. But what I find to be so valuable as a life example is really noticing the things that I sort of put on the back shelf that I wasn't working on anymore, that have happened, that I need to take time to honor and recognize and celebrate. And perhaps you can find situations in your own life where the same is true. So for my son, over the course of time, starting with therapies very early on and trying to get him a mechanism for language and all of the things that those of us who care for loved ones with autism do to try to help them gain as many tools and skills as they can. Over the course of that time, there have just been things that I've sort of given up on, honestly. And one of them, perfect example, is shaving and having my son be able to do that independently. And I have been working for 10 years. No, more like 15 years on this venture with him. And I sort of gave up on the notion that he might actually one day be able to do that all by himself, for himself. But I have to tell you, as I have chunked that skill down into tiny little subsections for my son, broken it down into the most minute of detail. First, it's holding that buzzing razor in your hand and feeling that buzz and not being freaked out about it, right? And the next, maybe it's just tapping the face and making sure we understand that doesn't hurt, that doesn't hurt, that doesn't hurt. And then going from there to maybe doing a little section. So we've been growing and progressing on this over the course of time. And all of those teeny little steps, the here to here to here to those tiny little steps have suddenly manifested into a place where just this week, just a few days ago, my son actually did a pretty good job of shaving his face all by himself. He wants to be able to do this by himself. And I've been encouraging him to, and yet he misses spots. And so I've always just helped to clean up. But just 2 days ago, when I went into the bathroom to go check him out and see how he's done and encourage him in his independent shaving, I noticed that he had actually done such a great job. I didn't really need to do a thing. And I have to tell you, like the celebration, does this sound weird? The celebration, celebrating my son shaving his own face. I know that sounds so odd, maybe to you, but to me, it's a huge milestone. And that milestone was created over the course of these little teeny steps across the way. But I want to pay attention to the little steps. Going from being freaked out by a razor to holding it in his hand is a huge first step. Don't bypass that just because you're not at shaving yet, right? So in your own analogy, in your own life, it's going to look totally different. Probably not going to have anything to do with shaving, but it might have to do with some other type of skill. Maybe it's public speaking. And maybe the notion, just the invitation of public speaking makes your hair stand straight on end and makes you feel like you're going to pass out because the notion of doing that is so frightening. But as you move from being frightened to being accepting and willing, to gaining the skills to know how to do it, to getting up on that platform or in front of that small audience, whatever, for the first time, every one of those little steps must be honored because they build confidence. And then you can put them, on the right side of the page. Done, mastered. That skill is now mastered. What's next? And that is how we can really experience exponential growth, by honoring each step, knowing that it's mastered, and knowing now that I've got the confidence to do that, that's not something I'm working on anymore. I can put that in the checkbox column, and now I can really focus on this. And it's good for the soul. It's good for us to give ourselves the affirmation and confidence that that was something I couldn't do before. I do that now, and it is totally worth celebrating. I really want to honor you in this and just remind you that we are so good at affirming other people so often. We don't have a tendency to do it to ourselves or for ourselves very often. Like, hey, I'm proud of you for doing that. That was something you didn't even know that you could do, and here you're doing it. What on earth is next? What a celebration. And I am taking this milestone with my son, and I am holding it as sacred because it's beautiful. It's something that is an accomplishment for him. And if there's an accomplishment for him, then I'm going to celebrate that as a proud mom and as somebody who loves and cares for him. And you know what it does? It makes me think, what's next? What is next? What have we been working on for a measure of time that just, I just kind of let go of, that might actually start showing up? And that gives us hope. All right, my friend, I'm with you in it as always. So much love to you. I can't wait to see you on the next episode. Thanks so much for listening to The Stephanie Stevens Show. Please remember to subscribe so we can stay connected and you never miss an episode of the podcast. Oh, and if you haven't left a rating yet, please be sure to do so. It helps incredible people like you find the podcast. We'll see you on the next episode.